Hi, it's Alan Richardson again with evidence number 11 in the series of 1,000 evidences for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. These evidences are based on my 2-volume compilation of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I'm not trying to sell books, but these are available on Amazon, and the information in these books can be fact-checked. Very powerful evidence that establish the fact that the church is absolutely true. When I've mentioned before in previous episodes that we can compare it to a game where Team 1 has got 1,000 points, 1,000 touchdowns, or 1,000 slam dunks. Team 2 has 3 or 4, maybe 8 points. It doesn't take a lot of brain power to see which team is ahead. Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has 1,000 solid, powerful evidences that it's true. And then we have people out there who say, "Well, I don't know if it's the best team. We've got four points over here, 4 criticisms that would seem to indicate, or 5 that the church isn't true. So maybe we'll go with the team 2." It doesn't make any sense. Go figure. It's just do the math. The fact is, the church is way ahead. Absolute evidences. There are some people that talk about the problems. By the way, the problems are all taken care of. I take care of all of the criticisms of the church in my book of Be Not Deceived. But even if we couldn't explain all of those problems, the fact is there's 1,000 reasons to believe in the church, and maybe 4 or 5 that maybe might present a little bit of a temporary problem until they find the answers. And some of those criticisms aren't really valid. They're like saying the coach is fat, or we don't like some of his decisions. Well, he's ahead. Or they might say we like the uniforms of the players on Team 2, as we've said before. But let's be real and let's not kid ourselves. Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is true. Jesus gave us one indication to be able to tell which church is true. He said, "By their fruits ye shall know him." This was the test given by the Savior. One of the things that he talks about in terms of what fruit is the best are those who take care of the poor and the sick and the needy and the afflicted, and those who are in need of comfort. In Matthew chapter 25, around verses 33, 34, 35, he talks about how important it is for the saints to take care of people who are in need of help. He says he will thank those who have helped him. People will say, "Well, when did we help you?" And he will say, "Well, if you've done it unto one of the least of these, thy brethren, you've done it unto me." And then he also says, if you do this, you will be able to be saved in my kingdom with me. If you don't, there's no salvation. Here again, this relates back to a previous evidence that we talked about on salvation, whether it's by works or by totally by grace. And this was one of the scriptures. I don't know if I mentioned it, but this attaches the good deeds of taking care of the poor and the needy and the sick and the thirsty and the hungry. If you don't do it, you're not going to be saved with me. By the way, there are 75 verses, at least, I limited it to 75. There are others that indicate that we're saved by works as well as by the grace of Christ. We can't be saved without our Savior. That's absolutely true. But if we pick out 1 or 2 verses that say we're not saved by our works, we're saved by the grace, and all we have to do is believe and all that. We can't cherry pick and say, all right, this one verse, I'm going to count that more important than these 70 verses that point the other way. Same thing in our discussion about whether or not men can see God. There are two or three, I know of one or two places in the Bible where it says a man cannot see God and live. But I also found 95 passages telling where men did see God. Now, what are we going to go with? Again, we need to do the math. In the book of James is another, besides what the Savior said about the fruits, James talks about pure religion is visiting the fatherless and the widows and taking care of the poor and the needy, as Jesus said we should. That's pure religion. Now, some people say the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is not a pure religion. Well, according to the Bible, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is very true. In fact, you can fact check this. I went on the internet and found out that of all the churches in the world that do the most charity humanitarian work is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It's far ahead of any other church. Some of the other religions, some of the televangelists, they will buy mansions and they will buy jets and all, but according to the sources that I fact checked, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is far ahead of any other church in this aspect of giving to the needy and the humanitarian causes when there's a disaster. We've heard some people say, well, there's two organizations that get there as soon as the Red Cross, or sooner than the Red Cross. One is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and the other is the Mormons, which are one and the same. So again, we don't need to scratch our head and say, well, which one is doing the best in terms of the tests that Jesus applied. Another thing I'd like to do in terms of by their fruits, Brigham Young taught the saints that we need to have nice, clean communities. He said that we will have civil communities, advanced in the arts and refinement than any other people on earth. We will be educated in learning and mechanics, and the most expert and ingenious. There have been several people that noted the beautiful appearance of some of the colonies, the cities and towns where Latter-day Saints had settled. For example, one writer by the name of John Codman, he didn't believe in Joseph Smith was a true prophet, so he wasn't biased in saying that in all my voyages and travels about the world, I never before passed 3 months in a community more industrious, upright, honest in dealing among themselves and with others, quiet, inoffensive, loyal to government, temperate, virtuous, and religious than these Mormons. Another writer said, a correspondent for the Juliet Courier said, I have been at Nauvoo on the Mississippi in Hancock County, Illinois, and have seen the manner in which things are conducted among the Mormons. In the first place, I cannot help noticing the plain hospitality of their prophet, Joseph Smith, to all strangers in visiting the town, aided as he is in making a stranger comfortable by his excellent wife, a woman of superior ability. He goes on and on talking about how the people of the town appear to be honest, industrious, engaged in their usual vocations, building up the town. Here's a statement by Mark Twain, Samuel Clemens. He said that when he visited Nauvoo, he said, we strolled about everywhere. This might have been Salt Lake City. Yeah, Salt Lake City, sorry. We strolled about everywhere through the broad, straight, level streets and enjoyed the pleasant strangeness of a city of 15,000 inhabitants with no loafers perceptible in it, and no visible drunkards or noisy people, a limpid stream rippling and dancing through every street, the block after block of trim dwellings, and a grand general air of neatness, repair, thrift, and comfort around and about and over the whole. Mark Twain was someone that had traveled the world over and had seen a lot of towns and was very impressed. One final person that was very impressed, not LDS, was Colonel Thomas L. Kane, was a military officer in the Civil War, including Gettysburg. And he said that one of the most outstanding experiences of his life was visiting Nauvoo, Illinois. And he says it was the most beautiful town he had ever seen in his life. He says it was like a paradise. They had been traveling upstream on the river, and they came around a bend, and he says it was glorious to behold. But what shocked him even more than the beautiful appearance of the city was that it was empty. And he said he got out, he couldn't believe, why is this beautiful, beautiful city empty? He walked around. Eventually he found some people that didn't fit the neatness of the beautiful homes. They were drunkards. They were laughing and swearing and cussing about how they had driven out the people who had built this city, the Latter-day Saints. And he was so amazed that he decided to find who these people were. He crossed over the other side of the river and found his way to winter quarters and found these people that had been driven out of their beautiful, beautiful homes in a very desperate, poor conditions, tents and huts that they had put together. Some of my ancestors were among them. One of my great-great-grandmothers, Eunice Fenton, was driven out of her house by people who said they were Christian, but the Mormons were not Christian. So they didn't deserve to live in their nice houses, and she froze to death in these horrible conditions. Who's Christian? Which fruit do we go with? It's a no-brainer. See you again next time. Thanks for watching.